السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. ربنا اغفر لي ولوالدي وللمؤمنين يوم يقوم الحساب برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم. ربنا افرغ علينا صبرا وثبت أقدامنا وانصرنا على القوم الكافرين. ربنا افرغ علينا صبرا وتوفنا مسلمين. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي واجعل لي وزيرا من أهلي هارون أخي اشدد به أزري ويشرك في أمري كي نسبحك كثيرا ونذكرك كثيرا إنك كنت بنا بصيرا. وصل اللهم على محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه وأتباعه وسلم. ربنا اغفر لنا وارحمنا وأنت خير الراحمين. آمين. الحمد لله رب العالمين. I would like to share something interesting and make me think more about some points that we make in the discussions. It is not related to our today's discussion. Inshallah, we will come back. In our discussions, we say that I mostly repeat that some signs in the Quran which are evidence that the Quran cannot be produced by a man. And also literary, it is extraordinary. And there are many aspects of the Quran that proves or demonstrates not only one aspect, but the scientific subjects related to discoveries, human discoveries. Scientific subject means really any topic which is related to human discoveries, which were not possible during the revelation of the Quran. Now they become possible, although they are open to interpretations, but still the evidences are not one. There are many evidences. So one can argue about one of them, maybe saying that it is just an forced information, interpretations, but there are many. So one has to accept it. The other side is that the people are excited about, especially after the development of the computer system. They study numerical things related to the Quran. People, normally the classical scholars, or those scholars now, the modern scholars who follow the classical tradition, they disregard them, reject them. It may be correct, but it is not the point that we have to pay attention to. But still, there are some signs in the Quran that during the 23 years' time, almost with no collected book in front of you, the pieces here and there in the hands of the people, in the houses of the people, but you can really take the computer with you and check every word you use in the Quran throughout 23 years and make up the correlations between certain words so that you will keep the balance. Well, it is impossible, humanly impossible, throughout 23 years. So I was, since I have more time nowadays to study, I was studying and find out and not study, which is very interesting. It is impossible to keep the balance between two opposing subjects so that they are mentioned in equal numbers. For example, men and women are mentioned in the Quran 24 times. It means 24 times men, 24 times women. Both numbers are. It is interesting. And the life of this world and the life of the next world after resurrection are mentioned 115 times equal. It's interesting. It is very interesting. No one can arrange this. So you will write a book so that in the book, life of this world will be mentioned in equal number as the life of the Akhirah. So you cannot really adjust the sentences then. Impossible. And you spoil the structure of the literature or structure of the text in order to adjust the numbers. And angels and Satan are mentioned equal numbers again, 88 times in the Quran, all Quran. And life and death are again mentioned in the Quran 145 times, equal number. Understand? It is amazing. I said, so it is impossible to arrange it. Yeah. And to give to charity and be happy with it. It means to be satisfied with what you have done. It means you have given to charity and you feel that you are satisfied, is mentioned 73 times in equal numbers again. And magic and discordance in the society, because they use the word magic so many times as an accusation to the Prophet. And this is mentioned 60 times equal. It means you can say that magic is used in order to confuse the ordinary people. The word magic as accusation to the prophets 60 times. And it is another interesting thing, to give charity, zakat, and the result of this is the blessings. It's called barakah. In Arabic, everybody knows almost barakah. 32 times equal. So if you give charity, you will see that you will have barakah, increase in your property. You give more, the more you give, the more increase happens, which doesn't make sense for a materialist mind. If you give it, it is minus. But the Quran says if you give it to charity, it is plus, not minus. Logically, it doesn't make sense. Mathematically, it doesn't make sense. And mind, using one's mind, one's reasoning power, and light for human spirit. The more you use your mind, the lighter your heart becomes. And this is 49 times each of them, each 49. And the language and the addressing to people language, speaking, of course, if you want to address to people, you have to speak. Again, this 25 times, each of them. And it's interesting, hope and fear mentioned in the Quran 8 times, equal. And difficulties and patience. It is interesting. It is very important in one's life. We may think that we are experiencing difficulties in our life, but we have to encounter these difficulties with patience. Patience doesn't mean that, okay, let me wait until it goes away. No. This is the decision of God, and I must see the wisdom in its existence. I shouldn't rebel, I shouldn't reject, I shouldn't criticize. This is 114 times. 114 times, each of them. Muhammad and Sharia, you know this, his law, because Muhammad is distinguished among, especially as compared to John the Baptist, last prophet, Jesus, and bringing law. So Muhammad comes with the law 4 times. Now, this is interesting. I found that I said I should share it with you. Now, although these are important signs that this is not a humanly constructed text, cannot be. But it doesn't mean, again, justifying our attitude in our classes, that is, it doesn't mean that because of this reality, this is only one. There are many other aspects of the Quran which demonstrates that people study, the scholars study, demonstrates that it is humanly impossible to produce such a text. Okay. But it doesn't mean that we have to accept everything what the text says without being convinced about the truthfulness of these subjects or of these topics presented to us, especially concerning belief. I have to be convinced. I have to study. How about these science, literature, science, or this kind of amazing things and human discoveries that wasn't possible during that time? Yeah, these are important. Close the door. Yeah. These are important just to draw the people's attention that this is not an ordinary text. Take it seriously. It cannot be humanly produced. Take it seriously. But of course, we have to be very careful not to go to the extreme that now, whatever it says, I believe, because it is humanly impossible to produce such a text. Belief is not such. That's what we have to understand. Belief is something that one reaches certainty. It is again interesting in the Quran. Quran uses the word certainty, which is in Arabic yaqeen, in both senses. One is really those people who are very much convinced in their belief, in their conclusion, that they have no doubt at all they are fully satisfied, which is called yaqeen, certainty. And also, the word yaqeen is used for death. Until you die, you have to keep worshiping God alone. For example, one example. Why do you think yaqeen is equated in the Quran to death?
Maybe because that's the only certainty we have in life.
Yeah. Yeah, we may doubt about everything, but we cannot doubt about one thing, that we will die and everything dies. Calculations shows that everything dies. All living beings die, and also, as we call it, non-living beings also die. Especially nowadays, the astronomy is developed. They know that the stars die, galaxies die. So even the non-living beings die. So that is certain. So because of this fact that we cannot attribute any quality to anything which is the source of its own qualities. How do you say? If I am the one who gave existence to myself, I cannot make myself non-existent, die. Does it make sense?
No, I don't understand. If you are the one that can give yourself existence, then
Yeah.
you cannot be the one that can take yourself out of existence?
Yeah.
I don't understand how.
Yeah, that's obvious to me. To me, it's obvious. Because I am in order to be able to give existence to yourself, it must be self-existent. This thing must be self-existent. If something is self-existent, cannot be non-existent, because it is self-existent. That's why you cannot imagine about the non-existence of a thing which is self-existent. Self-existent. Of course, if you think of it in terms of anything in this universe, it doesn't apply, because in this universe, nothing is self-existent. So everything depends in its existence on something else. Either, I don't know, for example, water, I see the water here. Water depends on for its existence and oxygen, hydrogen, at least, not alone that oxygen, hydrogen cannot make the water. That is something else. But water cannot exist without oxygen and hydrogen. Dependent. But we can argue further whether oxygen and hydrogen can make water or not themselves. That is another subject. So self-existence has no example in this world, no sample. That's why we cannot think of anything in terms of being or possibly being a self-existent one. So we cannot comprehend the self-existent, but we can only comprehend self-existence by making a comparison to non-self-existence beings. Look, our existence is dependent. We are not self-existent, everything in this world. But since that sounds as a philosophical, but it's nothing to do with philosophy, just a normal human mind, how the human mind works. Since existence exists, yeah, it seems to be totally, but it's not. Existence means exists. And human mind can easily comprehend that their existence is dependent. And inevitable question for the mind to ask is, dependent on what? They exist. They are not self-existent. They are all dependent existence. They have all dependent existence. Human mind asks inevitable. Their existence depends on what? So this logic requires that there must be a source of existence. So in this universe, nothing has the source of existence. So there must be a source of existence, but it's not in the universe. So we have to admit, however materialist mind we have materialist mind, they cannot really solve this problem. It's a problem for human mind. Problem means something which cannot be solved within the universe. We have to admit that there must be a source of existence of the whole universe. And this source must be not like, or the existence of this source must be not like the existence of this world. That's what we say, definitely, logical conclusion. There must be a self-existent one who gave existence to this universe and made this universe be dependent on his choice. And everything is so meaningful, we understand, so well organized, we comfortably understand that this source of existence must be conscious, must have the absolute qualities, otherwise it cannot make this universe in the detail that we can go in a perfect order and harmony. Must be absolute. So self-existent one must be absolute. That's what we understand, that everything is dependent on it. So yaqeen means death. Death means we cannot self-exist. We cannot have a self-existent quality. If we don't have the self-existent quality, there must be a self-existent one who gave us this temporary, or not temporary is not the point here, because we are talking about existence. Life is temporary. Existence is not temporary. So existence, this self-existent one made this universe, everything exists within the universe, dependent on his will, on his choice. That is human conclusion, inevitable human conclusion. I'm not saying you have to believe in it. Even you are a materialistically minded person, this mind, this human mind, cannot argue against this argument. Impossible for human being to think otherwise. Impossible. So there is no way to deny that the universe is dependent on something self-existent. That's obvious. Because we cannot liken this self-existent being to anything, we cannot reason about its nature, its essence, in terms of this universe, because this universe is just the opposite of its quality, the quality of the eternal one. That's why we cannot say that, oh, self-existence can annihilate its existence. Now, we cannot really do that because even the dependent existent beings cannot annihilate their existence. You can change, but they cannot annihilate your existence. It means, famous materialist science says nothing can be annihilated, nothing can be created out of nothing. They say, materialist people. It means, it shows that the nothing in the universe can give an end to its existence. But by following the order in the creation, they change their position or the type of existence. For example, you can burn a wood, its existence turns into something else. You cannot annihilate it. Got it? Right? You can change the quality of the wood into this light energy, heat energy, ash, but something else. But still, you cannot give an end to the existence of anything. So if we can not think of giving an end to the existence of anything, not only we human beings, nothing can annihilate itself. It is another evidence, not only the only evidence, but another evidence that even the dependent beings cannot give an end to their existence. It means cannot make themselves into non-existence. How can I imagine that self-existent one, maybe no sign to think that it can annihilate itself. It's impossible because of the definition. But we have to understand that belief is the result of human logic, intelligent activity, belief, and can only be proven if the alternative demonstrates that it is wrong. This is what I mean. No. We are not used to thinking in this way. That's why it can be a problem. They say, there is a very famous expression in English, the unless otherwise is proven, that's correct. Belief works in this way. How? Because you cannot speculate the absolute being. You cannot speculate about anything which is not of the nature of this universe. That's why we keep this expression, always repeating this expression, because you cannot speculate about something which is not of the nature of this universe. You can speculate about something which is within the universe, of the nature of these created dependent beings. But you cannot speculate. But we understand this. Now, if someone comes up with an evidence, these are very convincing arguments for me, but I'm really living on these arguments. If someone comes up with an evidence demonstrating that one thing within the whole universe existed by itself, not dependent, then what the logic says, the universe is made, so there must be a maker, is false. Because there's something which doesn't need a maker, it makes itself. Unless it is proven that something exists by itself, logical necessity is that there must be a source of existence which is not within the universe. Do you understand? One. They found out that there is a galaxy. In this galaxy, they study the beams they receive from the galaxies, light beams. Okay, that's why they can talk about it. Most of the galaxies are not visible even through the most developed telescopes. Even they are observable, doesn't matter. You can see the qualities through the beams, energy, or light beams we receive from them. As a result of these studies, something in one of the galaxies exists by itself. If it is proven through the Quran and it is claims away, or not only the Quran, all the religious, and all the matters related to belief in God, in the Creator, in the existence of the Creator, because there is no need, because otherwise it's proven to be true. That's why Quran presents the belief in terms of what? In a negative way. What is the negative way? La ilaha. Therefore, illallah. We have to understand this. La ilaha, therefore illallah. Not illallah, therefore la ilaha, which is commonly used in the general public by the common people. That may be correct for them, none of our business, but it's not correct for me. It doesn't make sense to me. So, la ilaha is proven. Illallah is the necessary, they call it corollary of it. Corollary, do you know the word corollary? Everybody? Necessary conclusion of it. Necessitates it. Okay. I think this is it. So we are excited about the miraculous signs of the Quran. It is, I'm just summarizing, capping up. We are excited about the signs of the Quran in many ways, not only one. Some people are crazy about it, study, find out many things in the Quran. Okay. But it is only a sign that this text must be taken seriously. It doesn't mean that the text must be imitated. That is the missing point in the community. Since it cannot be a human production, so whatever it is claimed in it must be accepted because it's not human production. It doesn't make belief. It makes imitation. Take the signs as an indication that I have to study this text seriously. Right? When I study, I will see in it a lot of claims about the things concerning the world of unseen. It means about things concerning which are not within this universe, existing in this form, existing universe form. Signs are here. Signs point to the necessary existence of such a being, but being cannot be thought of in terms of anything of this universe. That's what we have to understand. I cannot think of the source of existence of this universe in terms of this universe. But the universe is full of signs. Everything is a sign to its necessary existence. Everything. There must be. Someone made me, which is not in this universe. Someone made me not. In this universe, is this expression in this universe is wrong. We have to know that. Now, we are not looking for the source of existence within the universe or without the universe, somewhere out. No. The best expression I could find out is which is not of the nature of this universe. The best I really love it. I argue with my Satan easily with this expression. Not the nature of this universe. There must be something with another nature, since it is not of the nature of this universe. I cannot imagine, I cannot speculate, I cannot think of its essence, but I have to accept it is existence in a different form. That is quite convincing for me without being biased about anything at all. The point that we have to be careful, that's somehow I see it in your email as well, because we are born into, most of us, most of the people who come to this discussion, into a community which respects the Quran as the word of God. We may think that it is a privilege. I hold the idea in the opposite. It is not a privilege. It is a disadvantage. If you utilize it, it is a privilege. If you don't utilize it, it's a disadvantage. Because of the cultural background, information that we receive from the society, makes us inclined to accept it and look for an evidence, not the counter argument, for an evidence arguing in favor of what I have already identified myself with. If someone says, and in a community, Muslim community, it gives a speech, a very furious speech, hot speech, saying that Quran is the word of God. We trust him. None of the Muslims say, what are you talking about? You are stupid. No, none of them says this. In fact, it is a stupid speech, something else. But none of them, we all like, yeah. That's what I believe as well. Yeah. I'm comfortable now. Even the speaker is confirming it. We are inclined to hold it, to accept it. But if someone speaks with the same language in front of atheist group, for example, everybody laughs at it. It means this kind of speech is not human. You understand? Because it needs, this kind of speech needs to be approved with a prejudice, bias attitude. That's why we don't, when we hear something in favor of what we have, and not only we Muslims, everyone, in a Christian society, you go to the church and speak in favor of Jesus. Say everything in favor of it. No one can oppose it. No one opposes it. Not can oppose. They can, but they don't. Because they say, it's okay, that's what we believe, and it's conforming what I have already believed in. So you are comfortable with it. But if someone from makes this speech in a mosque, in the Muslim community, what do they say? The same speech. Everybody opposes it. It means we live with our prejudices. These prejudices prevent us from questioning what we are claiming. That is the obstacle. We don't question. But what we claim is nothing but what we have inherited in the culture. That is a very important point. What we have inherited, we have inherited from the culture needs to be confirmed, but we don't need to confirm it. We are happy with any type of language, any type of claim which confirms my claim. I don't question it. That is very human. What this very human, don't extend this discussion to common people. They may not be able to do it. That's none of our business. But for you and for me, impossible to accept. Because I am a Muslim, somebody speaks in favor of Islam, I will approve it. No, I get more annoyed. If someone speaks in favor of Islam with no reasoning, I get really annoyed. If an atheist man comes and criticizes Islam, I don't get annoyed. I say, I have to give the answer. I have to produce the answer. You know, what makes me satisfied, share my conclusion with this man as a human being. I don't get annoyed with atheistic discourses, but I really get annoyed. I can't bear any illogical defense of what I claim to have believed in. It means Quran is the word of God, and the message of the Quran is really, really convincing. If someone says the Quran is the best, God's speech, it is eternal. It is eternal speech. It will prevail until the end of life, end of time. It means hour, until the hour when everything is destroyed. I say, this man is idiot. No evidence. If someone is not coming from the same cultural background, it will definitely reject this idea and become a critic of Islam, saying that these people are stupid, Muslims are stupid. It shows stupid. It shows that Muslims are stupid. This kind of speech is very widely practiced. We have to watch out. We have to watch out. It's difficult. So anyone speaks, conclusion, anyone speaks in favor of what you believe without convincing evidence, reject it. Although he says, La ilaha illallah, that's what you believe, strongly reject it. Do you understand? It doesn't mean that he said, La ilaha illallah, reject La ilaha illallah. His attitude must be rejected. It is difficult. This is very difficult. If someone says, I am a Muslim, so, mashallah, it's good. But of course, you have to have your community, but it doesn't mean that your community will be based on same prejudice. No, community must be based on convincing evidence. So we have to share convincing evidence between ourselves. In the community, if someone speaks without evidence, we shouldn't let him speak. Oh, is there such a community nowadays? Among the Jews, among the Christians, among the Buddhists, among the Muslims? No, not a community. Individuals, yes, but not the community. That's what we have to be very careful about, the community life. Yes, we should have the community life, but we shouldn't really accept what is going on in the community structure. We should be very much alarmed about it. Yes, the people must be around us, Muslims, believing people. We believe, we share the belief, whoever believes in God. Yes, but if someone speaks in favor of Islam, in favor of Christianity, by saying that God exists, but without evidence, we shouldn't be happy with it. We say, no, it's wrong. This attitude is wrong. Your conclusion conforms what my conclusion is, but this attitude is wrong. I shouldn't speak without evidence, and I shouldn't listen to anyone speaking without evidence, basing his argument on pre-existing assumptions, saying that we believe in Jesus to be the Son of God or another aspect of God, or we believe in Muhammad sent by Allah, by God, appointed by God. So according to the nature of the community, the language changes. So whatever the community you belong to, you shouldn't buy into what the discourse includes in it. Without convincing reasoning, any discourse must be rejected, with one exception: during prayer. During prayer, if someone says Allahu Akbar, that's my conclusion, that is his conclusion. We are presenting the conclusions. We are not reasoning. What we have been talking about, not presenting the conclusions, but speaking in favor of a, they call it nowadays, faith tradition, right? Faith narration, faith tradition. We say, no, you cannot have this. For example, someone gives a sermon, khutbah. We have to look for convincing reasoning in the khutbah. The same man becomes an imam and prays. No, we have to make this distinction. Without reason, you said Alhamdulillah. Why did you say that? During the prayer. No. His conclusion is like my conclusion. We share it. But during the khutbah, he is not presenting his conclusion. He is expected to present his reasoning why he concluded, why he ended up with this conclusion. That is khutbah. The difference between prayer and khutbah. And either khutbah or the speech made in the name of Islam or in the name of Christianity, depending on which community it is. Let's call it, let's talk about Islam, made in the name of Islam within the Muslim community in order to encourage people to speak in favor of Islam without convincing reasoning. It means this person is consolidating imitation, not consolidating belief. Oh, it's very dangerous. Eh? So look for the source, speech, book, whatever, community or friend who is abiding by this rule. Doesn't help me to help me consolidate my imitation. It's not my friend. If this person consolidates my prejudice, my imitative belief, reject it. It's not your friend. In fact, it's harming you without knowing it, because it's making you more and more imitator. Be an imitator. So We shouldn't have this attitude, and we shouldn't expect this attitude from anyone else. If someone takes this attitude, it is good for other people, not for me, leave it. Then you become isolated. in this world, you become isolated. Yeah, why? Not many people are practicing this. So you become alone. And it's very good that you have to study yourself. You have to sit, study, investigate yourself. That's what we are doing. Inshallah.
Doctor, what do we need? When you were speaking to us, you said you need community, but this is the problem. What do we really need community for if they are failing in this most important thing?
No, a community, it doesn't have to be thousands of people.
It's just
A community,
yeah.
3 people.
Mm.
A community which speak in a way makes sense for any human being. Any human being. Muslim, Christian, atheist, Buddhist, they cannot say no. Agnostic, whatever they claim to be. Maybe Muslim as well. Doesn't matter. It must make sense. So we shouldn't be obsessed by the number of the people or the amount of the people. We should be very sensitive about the quality of the people. That's why I cannot find many people apart from you, because you are comfortable with what I said. Do you feel uncomfortable about it? No. So, but you don't expect from everyone to be like this. Never, ever pass judgment about other people. We don't know who is doing for what. We don't know. But you can make a judgment for yourself.
So
Am I doing this? Am I doing the same thing? Right.
So the community should be based on what you would call methodology, what their approach is, not their religious identity.
No.
Is it correct when I
Because
say?
as a human being,
As
I
a
always
human
say
being.
religious identity is not important. That's a human being.
Okay, that's nice.
So,
Thank you.
so any human being, let's say, sometimes I hear, really, it is very interesting. I hear a Jew defends belief more reasonable than a Muslim,
Mhm.
it makes sense. And this Jew is my friend, my community, because what he says, as far as he speaks to me, makes sense as a human being. Yeah, that's what I need. But the identity, political identity or social identity, whatever you call it, cultural identity, there are many expressions you can use, but usually I would say cultural identity has no value. Cultural identity has no value. Whether you identify yourself as an atheist, you identify yourself as an agnostic, you identify yourself as a Jew, because they emphasize on belief in God, but identify yourself, or somebody identifies himself herself as a Jew, but speaks what he says with in front of you makes sense to you, then that's your friend, that's your community. Not cultural identity is my community. But it is more likely, as far as we study the Quran, to find a member of your community from among the Muslims and from among the people who question. Non-Muslims, but question. Oh, they are the best. They may be non-Muslims, but they are questioning. That's the best option for me. For me, more likely questioning people. Not every Muslim is a questioning person, but if a person questions when dispersing the subject, if a person questions, where the question should start from being critical to his culture. For example, we are here in this community, which is called American Society. Yeah. If someone agrees with media in the American community, regardless of his religious background, he cannot question. It means he's not really using his mind. He is controlled remotely by other people or manipulated. He is manipulated. You cannot really have a reasonable conversation with this man. So first thing expected from my personal experience, if someone doesn't have a faith in media, social media, or TV, or newsmakers, if someone doesn't have a faith, it means blind following media, you can talk to this man. That's my practical conclusion in my practical life. You can talk to this man. If someone somehow sympathetic towards media, don't waste your time. Impossible. That's my personal practice. Right? So what's likely now in American society, conservative people in American society are blocked. They block their mind. Those people who are called leftists, socialists, critical people about the established society, established institutions, they are more likely to listen to you. Do you understand? But it's practical. This is my practice. You may have another practice. From among the Muslim community, also my practical conclusion, who is critical of the traditional way of living as a Muslim. Critical. Criticizes. You know what we do? It doesn't make sense to me. I don't feel any reason. Why should I pray? For example. Yes. Now, this person is more likely to share the truth with you because he's questioning. If someone says, I believe that that's what we do, we pray, we never miss Friday prayers. No, forget about this man. If someone says, why should I fast? Oh, that's the man. You can have your community with. That is contrary, totally contrary to what is prevailing in the Muslim community. What I'm saying is totally 100% diametrically contrary to what we have in our community. That's why something eccentric, what we are doing here. But we have to be open. We have to be open. And if you really think about it, think deeply, you get it. You understand. It's not difficult to understand. Okay. Anything else? No? All right. The third way. Okay. We have. I don't know. Oh, well, our leaders are not here today. Usual Farah. Where is she? I don't know. Okay. Okay, who's going to read it? Hadija looks back as if willing to read. Okay, introduce the subject, inshallah.
We are reading from the reasoning. We are on the the subject. We've talked about the institution of messengership, and then we've moved on to the Prophet Muhammad as a prophet.
No,
Muhammad
Muhammad
as a messenger, as a
Yeah.
prophet.
Don't be afraid of saying Muhammad as a name, but we don't know. We are investigating, yeah? Now, it is, so far, it looks like a prophet, but we are still investigating. So don't hesitate to say Muhammad. So it is traditionally difficult to say Muhammad, but a person claiming to be the prophet, and we are saying, is it really true? Let me investigate. Let me see what he has done. Let me see, no, first, let me see what he has said, he claimed, and let me see what he has done. Whether they are consistent, what he said, what he did. They are consistent, so what he claimed to be the prophet, then must be true. So saying and doing must correspond to each other. Let's see. We have been studying it for weeks, actually. Now we are on the third way, yeah?
We are reading from the reasoning, the third way, page 12. We should consider the following 4 points and one conclusion that pertain to the age of happiness. The first point. Consider that even a small habit can only be removed permanently from a small community by a powerful ruler and with great effort. Then see how that person, upon him be peace and blessings, in such a short time removed numerous ingrained habits from greatly obsessed, extremely proud, and obstinate communities, using little outward power or effort, replacing them with exalted qualities that became inherent in their being, raising them to the rank of the most illustrious, renowned, exemplary community of history. I'm going to read that again. Then see how that person, upon him be peace and blessings, in such a short time removed numerous ingrained habits from greatly obsessed, extremely proud, and obstinate communities, using little outward power or effort, replacing them with exalted qualities that became inherent in their being, raising them to the rank of the most illustrious, renowned, exemplary communities of history. So, if you do not confirm what a peerless individual this person must have been, I will have to record you among the sophists.
Again, yeah, it was human qualities require that we have to accept this. Yeah. Now, I remember mentioning this in our discussions. If someone doesn't know that smoking is harmful and smokes, it says it's enjoyable, I like it, why not? Huh? Like we eat bread or fruit. Yeah. It doesn't become its second nature. This is interesting how the order of creation works. After 50 years, that's exaggeration, but it's an example. It happened during the life of Muhammad. After 50 years of smoking, we call it addicted, right? Your body it gets addicted. Your habit is based on it. The morning you wake up, the first thing you drink a cup of coffee. Some people do that, and then with it, a smoke, a cigarette, right? But you didn't know that it's harmful. One day it is proven to you that it is really devastating. How do you say? Cause death. How do you say? That's the word for it.
Fatal. Fatal.
Fatal. It is really fatal for your health, and you have no right to do that. You cannot really damage your life. And it is more likely for this person to quit. It is human nature. Although addicted, but I should do that. This is how the order in creation works. The other example, the opposite example is this. I'm convinced there are evidences around me smoking is really dangerous for my health. And I have no right to damage my life, but never mind. Whatever, I'm drinking, I'm smoking, right? For not 50 years, for 5 years. Somebody proves to you that smoking is fatal for you, for your health. Can you give up? Very difficult. Because it is in the nature of this order of existence. It means the one who established this order made the human nature in such a way that if you get used to rejecting the truth, your habit becomes your second nature. Because when you learn that somebody came to your house and demonstrated that smoking kills, you want to be convinced to give up, to quit smoking. You know why? You had already known it. Do you understand? You had already known it. It is nothing shocking for you. So that you say, what I have been doing for 50 years was wrong. This nature must be born in our minds because it is important for us. We should not be doing something which we are convinced against. Right? What does it mean? That this thing is wrong, so that I should give up. For example, I believe, I'm convinced through my culture, whatever, there are some evidences that I heard. Quran is the word of God. God speaks to me. Yeah, God speaks to me. God speaks to me. It is the word of God. I confirm it. Yeah, I don't say no. But I don't pay attention to what God tells me, what God says to me. I'm used to it. If someone asks you, how can you be mindless about what your God tells you, since even you are in the prayer, you receive one noise and a signal saying that you receive it, telling you or letting you know that you received a text message. Yes? Just one a noise. All right? You are in the prayer. What do you do? Well, you forget about the prayer and you wonder who is and what it is. And that's what happens to me. So after the prayer, the first thing, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Yeah. I say to myself and some friends. After praying, and are you sending a text to God? Don't forget, write it down, register it. I pray. Are you sending a message to God that he shouldn't forget? So, of course, I don't do this to an ordinary man, but very close friends. And your mind is with the machine. Now, even one signal, you don't know where it's coming from. Maybe an advertisement. It's irrelevant. Maybe annoying people who are sending you stupid things. Yeah. What they ate in the morning, they take the picture of the beautiful table and say that, look, we enjoyed our breakfast today. And then send it to you. People do that. This kind of things. It's just irrelevant. You still wonder. But although you are somehow convinced that the speech of God, the Quran is the speech of God, and you don't pay attention to it, what happens? Even I prove that to you, that you have to pay attention to it, you got familiar with it. You knew that. It doesn't matter. That is why we don't change. Do you understand? That's why we don't make radical revolution or revolutionary decisions in our life, because we already know. And what? We already know, and we don't do it. So nothing is shocking for me. On the contrary, in the life of Muhammad, why he was so successful. People were the people of ignorance. They didn't know. They were drinking alcohol without knowing that this is really something that which they shouldn't do it. Right? No, just normal, like you drink your water. You drink your orange juice, or I don't know, pineapple juice. I like it. Pineapple juice. So, pineapple juice. Do you feel anything? Bad? Comfortable? And somebody comes and tells you that you have a purpose in your life, proves it to you. This word is dependent on someone's will, who created you for this purpose. And in order to fulfill the purpose in your creation, he is giving you the opportunity to exercise in this world that you don't own your choices. Yeah? So you cannot choose what you drink as you want, but the owner of the drinks will tell you what to drink, what you should not drink. Right? As soon as you are, oh yeah, water is not mine. All sorts of juice or liquid things are not mine. Alcohol is included, any alcoholic intoxicant drinks are not mine. The owner of all this says, okay, I'll give you an opportunity to exercise, to practice that these are not yours. This is what you have to drink everything, but not intoxicant things. Right? That's what he gives me the opportunity. So if I take a glass of something, let's say I came to you, or somebody presented me a drink, I say, what is this? They say, it is pineapple juice. Oh, thank you very much. I drink, because the owner of the pineapple juice allowed me. It's a practicing my belief. It's a practicing of one's belief. That pineapple belief that the pineapple juice, the owner allowed. Allowed, the pineapple juice is allowed by the owner of the pineapple juice, right? And now somebody presented me a beer, a drink. What is this? It's a beer. It's a beer. Or let's say wine. I don't know. Why? Because the owner of the wine said, okay, that's the opportunity for you to acknowledge practically, because we are living in this world in physical terms, practical terms. I have to practice what I have concluded about my reality. Now, my reality doesn't belong to me. The reality of anything doesn't belong to them. So I have to have the opportunity to practice. That's what rituals are all about. Practice one's belief, but consciously. So when those people were not aware that, let's say, example, the things belong to God. No, no, no. God is the God created in heaven, not in the earth. So He is in heaven. Now we have to take care of our life here. They didn't get used to disobeying God. They're disobeying the owner of the universe. They thought what they were doing wasn't wrong. But what they, for example, the tribal pride is, but of course, what else can I be proud of? It is still valid. The people are proud of their tribal affiliation. I'm a French, I'm a German, I'm a British, I'm American, it's Brazilian, Mexican. Yeah, we are proud of our certain cultural backgrounds. So these people also were the same. They were just doing something normal. Suddenly they encountered with a message saying that you don't belong to yourself. This world is just a place of training, educating your human qualities. And one part of this training is not to drink alcohol. What happens? They can easily give up. What does it mean? What does it show? If the reason behind, for example, come back to our simple example, addiction, smoking addiction. If I say there's nothing wrong with smoking, and I'm smoking, it's a pleasure, why not? Yeah, I don't have to torture myself for anything, it is a pleasure, why not? There's no reason not to, okay? And somebody demonstrated the reason why I shouldn't smoke, and I'm convinced. Be careful about this one. I am convinced about the reason why I shouldn't smoke. It's very easy for me. It's shocking, this news for me. And it makes me decide immediately to quit smoking. And it is very human nature to do that. Very within human nature. Because it's a shocking impact on your decision. But if you are familiar with it, no. Right? You cannot do that because you are immune to disobeying. Understand? Now, the alcohol is prohibited. It's harmful. Yeah. It is damaging the health. Yeah, I know that. But drinking, smoking. Somebody demonstrates that it is damaging. I already knew it. It doesn't have a shocking effect on me. So when Muhammad came with a message completely unknown to the people, right? Completely unknown to the people, and convinced that they have to be aware that their existence does not belong to themselves. It is an owner. And this owner has organized this order of the universe in such a way that you train yourself and get ready to get to know the source of your existence, right? So this is an opportunity for you in the physical world that you shouldn't drink alcohol, and the rest of the liquid is allowed by the owner of this beverage or any kind of drink. What happens? Oh, I don't have my own existence for myself. I am convinced about it. Now I am also convinced that I should follow the instruction given to me by my creator. You just stop drinking immediately. That is why it was possible for Muhammad to be successful to change the revolutionary change in the society. Why? Because the message he brought made sense to them, reason convinced them. So the message was what? La ilaha illallah, summarized in La ilaha illallah, everywhere, in every aspect of life. So he was successful. It means his message is right. This is what I'm. The first point and the second point also somehow related to this, but we have to bear in mind that why he was successful, because the message he brought was right. And it's convinced the people. It was human. The message was human. It didn't contradict human nature. It means the core of the message is what Prophet brought, La ilaha illallah. This word is transit. Everything depends on him, and we belong to him. We are from him. We will go back to him. It means our existence belongs to him totally. So I leave my existence to him, and it made sense to them. That's why he was successful. His success comes from the truthfulness of his message, and his message says, this message is from your creator. Muhammad doesn't say it is mine. It's from your creator. This success demonstrates that his claim to be the prophet is correct. You see the logic? No, the success. That's why I am earlier on we talked. If a person questions, it means there is a hope that he may understand the truth. If a person says, I'm a Muslim, I believe in the Quran, etc., but never tries to understand what the Quranic message is really, right? He gets used to it. And even if you demonstrate that the Quran is God's word, you say, I know it, it doesn't have a shocking effect on it. So it cannot make a radical change in his life. But in Meccan life, everybody knows historically, or no one can deny that desert Bedouins became the most civilized society in a very short time, 29 years. Everything changed. How was it possible? As in America, they tried once, and historically, you know much better, maybe. If I'm wrong, correct me. If I'm right, also let me know that I am right. They tried to correct prohibit alcohol. What happened? State power, lots of propaganda. Yeah, not to drink, and production of alcohol was prohibited, illegal. What happened? Were they successful? Not at all. Why? Because the reason is not revolutionary truth. Right? And the reason was not convincing as a shocking, in the shocking way. Their worldview that didn't change. Just saying that don't smoke, don't smoke, don't smoke. You say, why shouldn't I? There's no reason. Why shouldn't I? I enjoy it. Why shouldn't I enjoy myself? There's no reason, convincing reason. They were not successful. Am I right? Have you heard? Have you read it in the history, American history? Yeah, you heard it. Yeah, they gave up and made it go, but under certain monopoly, state monopoly, production. Doesn't matter. It is in the market. It is in the shop. You can go and get it. The only thing they can do, you cannot buy it if you are underage. It means 18 years old. I think 18, isn't it? Or 21. Which one? 21. Yeah, they cannot buy. Okay, they say, okay, my father buys it. You get it from the fridge. No problem. After 21 years old, it becomes legal. What does it mean? If it is harmful, harmful. Whether you are young, whether you are old. It doesn't make sense. It means no convincing reason behind it. That's why it doesn't have an effect on the people. But Muhammad's attitude or Muhammad's history is extraordinary. In 23 years' time, the whole community changed drastically, they were just Bedouin, obstinate, tribal society, became a civilized, universal nation in 23 years' time. No such a thing happened in society. No.
Afterwards,
Sorry?
Afterwards, you're saying.
Afterwards, of course. Before also, we don't hear any such a change. Only after the prophets delivered the message to the society. Some people accepted, some people didn't. But there's a radical change. It happened almost encompassing whole the community. Okay, I think we can get the second point as well. Yeah, we diverted the subject today.
The second point. A state is an entity that has a collective persona, the formation of which requires a long process.
The state is the government. It's a political institution. Yeah? You understood. It's clear, isn't it, from the sentence? It's a political institution. Yeah.
Triumphing over powerful, long-established states is not easy, and requires a long time and great strife. Devotion to such a state has become a second ingrained nature in its citizens. Despite this fact, that person, upon him be peace and blessings, formed a well-organized community from small, scattered tribes which had been in continuous conflict with one another, and founded an extremely powerful, well-established state in so brief a time as 20 years. This seemingly small state triumphed over two superpowers of the time with a single blow within 10 years of its establishment, destroying one eternally and defeating the other so decisively that it would not be able to recover until its collapse. This seemingly small state triumphed over two superpowers of the time with a single blow within 10 years of its establishment, destroying one internally and defeating the other one so decisively that it would not be able to recover until its collapse. If you cannot see the extraordinariness in this person's accomplishments, you will be recorded among the blind.
Yeah, okay. The last sentence is, watch out, be careful what you are doing. So it is again on the same line of thinking. How a state is established, it's a long tradition. Yeah? You cannot establish a state in one day. Long tradition. And with lots of struggles, etc. So it is important that the members of the state are likely to devote their loyalty to this tradition because they are growing with this tradition. So what happened? Members of the well-established empires, the people were really loyal to their establishment, their state, which is quite normal. For example, here, in everywhere, if you go to France, most of the people are proud of being French, right? It is even so British, they say, we are the best nation. Germans are the same. Turks are beyond doubt, they are the best nation. Persians are, of course, historically the best cultural background or civilization they developed. Yeah. Egyptians, impossible to compete. Living examples are there. The best developed community. So the people are proud of their affiliation with the state. Why do you think that the community, educated, trained under the leadership of Muhammad, was so successful, although they didn't have any physical power to destroy these states, well established, maybe 1,000 years of background, very powerful? How they could destroy? Didn't have any nuclear power, anything. Anything. They had well-trained armies, and Muhammad's community didn't have even an army. They were ordinary people, private people. They didn't have any training, military training. It wasn't a custom. Everybody knows it. How could they be successful? Again, the same reason. They were successful not because of the power they brought from the desert. They have nothing but camels, right? And they are just educated under the leadership of the teachings of Muhammad. So their teaching, their understanding was so powerful, so influential, so effective. When they introduced this idea to the members of those well-established centuries of empire, the people were shocked with the new idea. They were convinced. They were convinced the truthfulness of these ideas, not the power that Muslim community or the Muhammadan community, let's speak in a free language, Muhammadan community that they had to submit to. And also, oh, God helped them. No, that is another way of missing the point. If you come up with a wrong idea, or not wrong means not unacceptable idea, God doesn't help you anyways. If your ideas are acceptable, it means ideas are supported by God, not the community is supported by God. Do you understand? So revelation is from God. That's why it was powerful. So with the power of the consistency of the revelation, that they were able to convince the people. That's why we cannot imagine that Arab or the desert Arabs or the desert people will destroy the Persian Empire, which has thousands of, I don't know, years of history, well established, the most powerful society. It means being triumphant on Persian Empire was not the result of power, but the result of the power of the truthfulness of the message. That's what it is. That proves that the message Muhammad came up with was really correct. According to human nature, the most acceptable message. Because it is from the creator of the human beings, as Muhammad claimed to be. That proves also Muhammad wasn't a man of success, but his message was the message of success. True message, truth. So made sense to human beings and made a shocking effect on the human beings. And they were easily able to leave their loyalty, their devotion to their state, which is Persian state empire or Roman Empire. They cut off their relationship immediately. They ended their devotion to the state immediately, and it was the administration, the ruling class did not have enough support from the grassroots. So they had to collapse. The success is nothing to do with really physical power, help of God, or help of God in physical terms. The success has nothing to do with the power of the desert dwellers, camel riders. Success was the power of the message. That's what we understand, and we shouldn't read history as it is written and believe in it. It is just trash. All the things told in the history books written by Muslims. Non-Muslims, forget about it. But Muslims, written by Muslims, is nothing but trash. So powerful. With the power of Iman, they were really fighting hard and defeated the most powerful, power to power. Do you understand? Power. It is the most stupid interpretation of history. Most stupid interpretation of history, and the Muslims buy it. We see the same mentality in the recent Muslim history, which is Ottoman Empire. Yeah, Muslim people. What they did, they wanted to defeat Europe with power. They had the most developed weaponry. What they did, stupid people. They are stupid, really. What they did, They wanted to invade Europe with their physical power, with the army, not with idea, not with truth, with the army. What happened? They invaded Eastern Roman Empire, Constantinople, which is called Istanbul. They invaded Greece. They invaded Yugoslavia, Romania, Bosnia, that time Bosnia Herzegovina. You know, what are they called people? I don't remember now. Bulgaria. What happened? They came back. They came back. They were defeated. At the end, power can prevail, can live forever. You can put somebody under your control or under your oppression by power for how long? At the end, this man from inside says, no, 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 they rebel. Right? That's the rebel. That's what happened. So, power to power, impossible to defeat a nation. Temporarily. Temporarily, yes, but not permanently. What happened? The Mohammedan people, or those people who accept Muhammad's message, believed in it, convinced in it, and conveyed the message to others. They were convinced as well. That was a shocking effect on their life. So what they did, they made a revolution, or they made a radical change in their life, left behind all their false devotions, affiliations to the state, and the state had to collapse because there is no base for it anymore. So we should never say that Muslim power, no, not Muslim power, that defeated Persian Empire and partially Roman Empire. Not Muslim power. What defeated?
Truthfulness of the message.
Truth of the message. That proves that this man, who's called Muhammad, what he taught people was very human, very true, very convincing. So it was not his production. It was the production of the maker of the human beings. He knows human nature well. So never believe in physical description in the Sirah books, in the history books written by Muslims. Anything attributed to human power, by definition, it contradicts the teachings of Muhammad himself. Although it is about elevating, appreciating the life of Muhammad's life, they are depreciating the life of Muhammad by attributing the power to the army, Muslim army. 150 well-believing people took their sword and went to a community, to a tribe, which was 1,000, with the power of their belief, conviction. They defeated the tribe, 1,000 people. But not the idea, because I'm convinced that I am right, so I'm very powerful in physical terms. That's how the Sirah books describes the wars, attributing the power to man. Do you understand? That is not only wrong, but insult the teachings of Muhammad. Teachings of Muhammad says, this message is true, it is from God, and it is appropriate to your human nature. That's what it is. Think about it and make a revolution in your life. That is possible. Because people didn't know. When they heard it, it was a shocking event for them. that any shocking news makes the people easily change their life radically. Do you understand? Only the idea, convincing idea. So this is the first point, and the second point are about what? The truthfulness of his message. Proved in the physical terms. Truthfulness of message is proved in the physical terms. So be careful when you read. You may wonder, of course, how the life of Muhammad was and the Muhammadan community was. Mostly they attribute the power to Muslims, right? They don't emphasize on, mostly, they don't emphasize on the power of the message. They say people changed, they became so strong, believed, and they attacked with no fear. So they defeated thousands of people, although they were small in number. So look at this attitude, this contradicting what Muhammad claimed to be. But Muhammad didn't say, I'm a very powerful leader. He said, I'm an humble man. Humble man. I am nothing. I have no power. But I'm just transferring, conveying the message I received from God, and it is correct for you. It is true for you. Think about it. So the power of the message of the Quran won over or defeated the empires. Power of the message of the Quran defeated the empire. This point is so interesting for me, so convincing for me. I keep saying that how are Bedouins destroy the Persian Empire? Well-established, most powerful army. They say with the strength of Iman, they believe. That's all. If the strength of Iman in me, so I become powerful. No. With the strength of the truthfulness of the message. That is the main difference. Okay. These are important for me. These are very convincing for me, and that's why I share them. Inshallah, from now onwards, watch out for the email, reminding email, if you are going to have the discussion on Wednesdays, Saturdays, watch out for the email, okay? Don't take it for granted that we are going to have it. We are not going to have it. Last week, or the week before, or last week. Last week, we said we are not going to have the discussion on Wednesday and Friday and Saturday because I won't be here. Here I am. I say, my plan is disproved to be true by the planner, the owner of the universe. So we don't know. I don't know. Still, I don't know what will happen. So watch out for the, inshallah, for the emails. Then, inshallah, I'll let you know. Inshallah. If I forget, remind me. If I forget to send the reminder one day before Wednesday and Saturday, it means Tuesday and Friday. If you don't get it until the evening, for example, please send me an email or text me or call me even. Say that you haven't sent the message. All right, inshallah. I feel I'm very excited about these discussions because everything is new for me. What I want to talk here is all new and makes sense. Alhamdulillah. Bismillah. سبحانك لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم وآخر دعواهم أن الحمد لله رب العالمين بحرمة سر سورة الفاتحة. Inshallah, let's see inshallah each other next Wednesday. So watch out for the event on Tuesday. Assalamu alaikum.